Got our stragglers coming in at the last second. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Hi, Mariana. Hello, Kaylin. Good to see you. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody online had a good weekend as well. If you can hear me, go ahead and give me a quick sound check or say hello online to let me know you're here. Oh, Torrance is shown, so we can begin the class, as always. We have a quorum. Let's see, Torrance is here. Kaylin just showed. We have Mariana's here. Anyone else? Anyone else? If you're online in class, Megan. Hello, Maya. Good to see you. Ashika's here as well. Gloria Bahati's coming to us online as well. Some of our classmates are joining us online. Remember, you folks can also choose to come online on Thursday if you prefer. It's completely up to you. I'm going to be here. You're happy. I'm happy to have you do whatever you want. And we have a question in the back from Isabella. What's up? Excuse me, I meant Wednesday. Wednesday. Thank you very much. You'll never know what I'll say in class. Those of you seated students can come on Wednesday online. We will be having webinar this Thursday night. I've got a couple of announcements here if we could look at on the board for those of you. Writing assignment 3 rewrites, writing assignment 2 rewrites, and writing assignment 1 rewrites are no longer being accepted. If, however, you want to turn in an edit for writing assignment 4, that is due this Sunday by 7/16. Now, for the last 2 writing assignments, we're going to be running out of time, so I'm going to grade this week's writing assignment 5 by Friday, as I usually do, and you'll have 1 full week to do that one. And then writing assignment 6, I'm going to make it my mission to pull an all-nighter on Monday and Tuesday and get writing assignment 6 regraded early in the week, and you'll have 5 days if you need to do a rewrite for that assignment. And I will not be accepting any more rewrites after 7/23, which is that following Sunday. Any questions online from my online students? Hi, Andrew. Good to see you. Hello, Kyung. Kim is here. Ishika's here. If y'all don't mind, let me get some more attendance. Okay, Maya's here. Ishika's here. Kyung Kim is here. Okay, let's see. Noah Grusmeyer, Mahika. Is Mahika online? No, she is not. Brittany Carroll. Fantastic. Good to see you. Thanks for coming, Brittany. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm hoping that this lecture will last less than an hour. Wouldn't that be nice? Let's go ahead. What in the hell? All right. Let's go ahead and get started here. Module 6, living your best life. Everybody online is talking about living your best life. Living your best life. What the hell does that even mean? Today we're going to talk about how psychology can help you live your best life, whatever that is to you. One of the reasons that we have psychology, presumably, is to help people. And so this is one of the areas that psychologists focus in. Now we're going to do it towards the end of the semester. And what you're going to find is that some of the content's going to skip around in a few of the chapters. I've got the page numbers at the bottom of each slide, but sort of this health psychology is going to be scattered throughout the textbook. So you're going to have to go looking for it just a little bit. Okay. So, health psychology, the science of helping people achieve well-being. You know, the philosophy of living the good life is thousands of years old. If you want to go back old school and talk about philosophical arguments, how to live the proper life is one of the oldest things that philosophers, especially religious philosophers, have focused on. The Upanishads, which are ancient Hindu literature written in Sanskrit, talk about living well. Confucius out in the Far East talked about living the good life. Aristotle wrote this book called the Nicomachean Ethics, where he described what it was to live right. Islam has a theory on what it means to engage in right living. And you know what? To be honest with you, my grandma has a theory on how to live right. Now, my grandma drove her car and lived by herself independently till she was 100 years old. So you know what? You can't argue with success. So she's got some good advice for you too. And to be quite honest, you can abstract her advice out and put it in this lecture, and you could even say that Nana is a psychologist, a health psychologist, if you will. Okay? Now, also on Thursday, we're going to be talking about happiness. Holy cow, let's talk about being happy. We're probably the most depressed generation ever. So we're going to spend Thursday night talking about happiness, and we're going to talk about Dan Gilbert, who is a positive psychologist who studies those things that make us happy. All right? So let's slip over to the next slide. Hello, Lily. Thanks for coming in. Notice we have 13 people in our virtual audience right now. Holy cow, I'm a D-list YouTube star. Okay, so what we're talking about, what psychologists talk about, is well-being. And well-being is more than just being happy. It's being happy and productive and healthy, right? So living a long time isn't awesome if you're super unhappy. Being productive and happy isn't worth a darn if you're really, really sickly and dying. So what psychologists are interested in is this thing called well-being. It's a positive state that includes striving for optimal health and life satisfaction. Physical health, positive emotion, being engaged in life, finding meaning in life. These are all things that lead to well-being, right? So, oh no, where did I put my coffee? I threw my coffee away. That's pretty good, and I could use a drink right now. Fine, but that's okay. And so, well-being is this state that encompasses more than just being healthy. A lot of people focus on living a long time. You don't just want to live a long time. You want to live a good life. It's the quality in the years, not just the length. And so well-being is sort of all of these things put together. Now, there are two sort of broad areas that you're going to see studying well-being. Positive psychology and what we'll call health psychology. The difference is positive psychology is more of the research, the theoretical field. They're going to do research studies that tell us what will make you happier, what will make you more productive, what will make you this and that. It's more of a research-based field. On the other hand, there's a branch of psychology called health psychology, and those are the people who are going to be trained to help persuade you how to engage in healthier life habits, how to help you deal with stress. They're going to be the people who are actually in the trenches helping you achieve this thing called well-being. All right, and so both of these types of psychologists. Okay, I see we have Mahika in the classroom now. Thank you very much for coming, Mahika. Let's see. Noah Grussmeyer. Anybody seen Noah? Where is Noah? Okay, no big deal. Now, areas of interest to behavioral health psychologists: smoking, alcohol, and drug abuse, unhealthy eating behaviors, exercise, and its impact on health and stress. Now, although it's going to feel more like health class, and I always kind of get a little weird teaching this because I'm not a health teacher, I'm a psychologist, but we're going to talk about smoking and overeating and drug abuse today like we're in 7th grade health class, okay? So, and then tomorrow, or Wednesday, not Thursday, Isabella, but on Wednesday, we're going to talk about stress. what it is, physiologically speaking, the impacts it has on you, and how you can avoid it. And so those are sort of the areas that you're going to find positive psychology and health psychology involved in. Oh, good deal. Noah is in the online class. All right, good to see you. Thanks for coming, Noah, by the way, and let me know. All right, so here's the deal. One of the things that I've done in the last 7 years, I don't know if you knew this. Well, no, of course you don't know this. But when I was 45, I was obese. I was about 210 pounds. I weigh about 155 now. I was big, right? I was obese. Wow. Right? Thank you very much. I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, oh my God, your cholesterol's up, your blood sugar's up, your blood pressure's up. And the doctor said, hey, you have to take a bunch of pills for the rest of your life. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Is there an option B? And the doctor said, yes, you can lose some weight. Now, here's the thing. I've had some friends who were heavier who've died young. I've had some friends who were heavier who've had a lot of medical problems. Nobody's shaming you. Nobody's telling you you're a bad person for being overweight. However, I will tell you that having a healthy weight will make your life much, much better. All those numbers I told you, the doctor wanted to put me on all this medication. At the end of 6 months when I lost that weight, all my numbers came right back in line. None of this genetic stuff, none of this you can't control it. It just happened for me, okay? And it can happen for you too. Now, obesity is a growing, and what you see up here is the BMI chart. The BMI chart is used to give you a rough idea of whether or not you probably need to lose a little bit of weight. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, the BMI chart, it doesn't take into account whether or not you're a weightlifting attitude. It doesn't take into account male versus female. Doesn't take into account different differences, ethnic differences in bone density, etc., etc. This is true. This is true. But if you're over in this area over here, it's problematic. I was right here. I'm 5'7" on a good day, okay? And so right there, you know what? You can quibble about a pound or two, but that's in the wrong color to be, right? And so this gives a good idea on whether or not you should think about whether or not you might want to change your eating habits. Now, obesity is a growing problem in the U.S. I don't know if you know this, but the obesity rates for the U.S. citizens have doubled since 1980. Obesity rates for children are 400%. And being overweight or obese does lead to problems as an adult. Now, I am an umpire on the weekends. I go out and umpire baseball games because I like baseball, and I get that extra money that I can spend, and my wife doesn't tell me what to do with that money. I love my baseball money. But what I'm noticing is that there are tons and tons of really heavy 9 and 10-year-old baseball players. Just tons and tons of little round children playing baseball. And it's not a healthy thing. It's happening to us. And you know, it's weird. When I grew up back in the 70s and 80s, if you went to McDonald's once a month, man, you were lucky. That McDonald's was like a treat. Now we eat fast food 3-4 days a week, right? So what you're going to see is that cultural factors do affect what kinds of things people eat. Have any of you traveled around the world and been in different places to eat? Are some of you from different places, right? One of the things that I love about my travels in Mexico, in Colombia, and Ecuador is all the fresh produce. Wherever you go, every corner, there's fresh vegetables. You know how hard it is to kind of get good fresh vegetables here in the United States, especially if you live in an urban area. But if you walk around down in South and Central America, it's just piles of fresh vegetables everywhere. And so these things sort of do affect the way we eat and the kinds of things we do. I don't know if all of you are used to drinking coffee or sweet drinks. I see some drinks there in front of you. One of the ways in which I lost weight, I took my advice from Terrell Owens, the football player. I can't believe that. But I remember seeing an interview, he's like, never drink your calories. And after that, I decided I would never drink anything but water again. It kind of sucked for a while getting out of the soda and the Gatorade phase, but you'd be surprised how many calories a day you stick down your stomach without even thinking about it, because it's culturally relevant. When you get a quarter-pounder meal, you have to get a soda. When you get up, you got to have a coffee drink with lots of this and that in it. And baseball players, I notice all those kids on the baseball field, all they do is drink Gatorade because it's healthy for you. It gives you energy and electrolytes. No, it gives you tons and tons of sugars and calories. But we do that because we have these cultural factors. Now, the weird thing is you're going to notice that it does matter who you hang out with. Your friends do tend to have similar BMIs. However, research has shown is that there's a genetic factor in BMI that's independent of growing up in a household. So there is a genetic point to it. And in fact, some people even argue about this thing called set point theory. Anybody ever heard of set point theory before? What set point theory argues is that you were born a thin person. You were born a heavy person. You were born a medium body shape, and your metabolism and your entire system is built around that given weight. And the idea is that if you try to fluctuate from that weight, your body will engage in mechanisms to drive you back to your desired weight. And it's sometimes used to explain why some people who are really, really thin and can't pick up weight for sports might have this problem. And it's also used, unfortunately, I think, for some people who could benefit from behavioral changes in their diet, but they use this as a reason. Hey, genetically speaking, I can't get away from this set point. Here's the deal. One of the things that I found, no joke, I'm a guy and guys don't have it nearly as badly as do females. But you know what I noticed? I noticed that people started being nicer to me when I lost 60 pounds. Holy cow, suddenly the lady at the bank had time to talk to me. People smiled at me, right? One of the things that unfortunately happens in our society is that we have such negative attitudes towards heavy people that there's a big stigma sometimes. And one of the things I noticed, fairly, rightly or wrongly, was that people's attitudes, I could see it in their face when I lost that weight. Now, the other thing was, it made me feel better about myself, right? When people are being nice to you, you feel better about yourself. And you know what? As I suggested to you, when I did lose the weight, all of my physical numbers came right back into line. Now, on your weekly homework, I'm going to ask you to know all of the negative effects that go with being overweight. Type 2 diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular disease, stroke. I don't know if you folks have heard this. Did anybody see the article about colon cancer rates in your age group? They are shooting through the roof. One of the things you're going to notice as you get older, and if you looked at actuarial statistics, what you would know is that dying is a pretty predictable business. It's incredibly predictable. I know what's most likely to kill you right now. Accidents. The second thing is suicide, right? And in another 10 years, it's going to start being heart problems. In another 20 years, heart attacks and cancers are going to start killing you. It's incredibly predictable. And what they find is that colon cancer rates in the under 40 group have skyrocketed in the last 10 years. Wonder why? What do you think it might have to do with? We're a fast food society, tons and tons of sugar, right? Or I don't know if you are, but I've seen people who are like that. Now, and the crazy thing is, what I found when you lose weight, it turns out if you went out and looked at all the foods you like, it turns out that there's a bunch of healthy food that you like. And there's a bunch of unhealthy food that you like. What I think most people do that causes them problems is they think that they have to eat all of the food that is out there. One of the things that I started doing was I stopped eating fast food. Now, what I did was I replaced that with things I like to eat. You know, I love bananas and fresh fruit. Not as good as hamburgers and sodas, but I like it. And what you have to do is learn how to adjust. One of the things I think that most people fail with when it comes to diets is people tend to eat automatically. Have you ever noticed that you'll walk past the refrigerator or the pantry and stick stuff in your mouth all day long? Most people eat absolutely automatically. So the key for me was to buy I downloaded a calorie counter. And what I did was every time I put something in my mouth, I counted those calories. I didn't tell myself I had to do anything. I just started counting those calories. And what I became aware of was at least 20 times a day I walked past the pantry and past the refrigerator and grabbed something, a couple of crackers, this and that. And what I learned to do was to avoid automatic eating. Avoid automatic eating. Make your eating conscious. Most people eat automatically. And when you do that, you don't have to eat that candy bar. Most people say, I have to have a candy bar. No, it's a freaking choice. You can do that. And what I did was I made eating conscious. Because if you want to lose weight, you can exercise as much as you want. But if you don't win the battle at the dinner table, you are wasting your time. I used to work out with this fella. He was obese, and we'd go to the gym, and this guy would crank out 800 calories right beside me on the treadmill. And I'd go home and have 2 bananas and a protein drink and maybe some water. He'd go have a 6-pack and a cheeseburger. And he's like, I'm not losing any weight. I'm like, Pete, what the hell? You work so hard in the afternoon, and then you ruin it in the evening, right? So that's enough about eating too much. And I hate to, and I'm not trying to fat shame or make anybody feel bad for your weight, but your weight does really factor in your health. Now, ironically enough, in a society with so many obese people, we have people who have trouble the other way, maintaining a healthy weight. And I'm sure you're familiar with the terms anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and you may have heard of binge eating behavior. Now, the weird thing is these disorders are related to, they aren't part of it, but they're related to a disorder we have called body dysmorphic disorder. When you look in the mirror and see that thing, you have a perception of what you see in the mirror. Now, as we've talked about, you don't see reality, you see a version of reality. And just like that version of reality can be wrong in other things, the version of reality you see when you look in the mirror can also be skewed. People with body dysmorphic disorder, when they look in the mirror, they see things that aren't there that cause them great anxiety and great problems. And what you're going to notice is that people with anorexia, nervosa, and bulimia a lot of times are going to have body image problems that cause these disorders. Now, what I do want you to know, anorexia nervosa typically begins in adolescence. It does occur in males as well as females. I have a distant family member, a male, who does have an eating problem. The guy chews up his steak and then spits it out. He won't eat it because he's really concerned about weight. Some people in his family died early from heart attacks. He's been told that weight is how you keep the heart attacks off. And now he's 5'7", about 115 pounds. He just won't eat, you know what I mean? And so it happens to guys too. Anorexia, bulimia, this is when they tend to eat and then purge. You get the binge and the purge. Most of your bulimics are going to be more female than male as well. And bulimics tend to be average weight. And then you see binge eating disorders, they tend to be more male. than in female. And I want you to be familiar with these types of eating disorders. Okay. All right. Drugs. I hate this part. I hate this part. I had a friend who was an anthropologist, and he showed me one time evidence of a little cannabis pipe that was 10,000 years old with seeds in it. Beer and alcohol had been brewed for tens of thousands of years. Animals actually will eat rotten fruit to sometimes get high. Our culture has a long and complex and complicated history with drugs and intoxicants and what we might call neuroactive, psychoactive drugs. Now here's the deal. A lot of people tend to think that drugs are maybe this new thing that our society is trying to deal with, this new scourge that our society is trying to deal with. And I know people who have drug problems because they think if the doctor gives it to them, it's automatically a good drug and there are no problems with it. But I want you to know that there are definitely differences in the danger associated with legal as well as illegal drugs. And what I told my kids growing up, right, is that we are going to manage our risk, okay? I don't mind if you have a beer son. Manage your risk. Don't drink 4 of them and get behind the wheel of a car, right? So, and to say that you just avoid them, that's a difficult thing. So let's be realistic and just talk about managing ours. Now, there's this chart. One of the things that I noticed in the chart that's in your book is they don't differentiate between physiological and psychological dependence. So some drugs have a physiological dependence. Your body goes through a withdrawal. Alcohol causes a physical withdrawal. Oxycodone, heroin causes a physical withdrawal. On the other hand, some drugs have more nicotine, physical withdrawal. And then there's the psychological addiction or psychological dependence, where it doesn't really cause a physiological reaction in your body. Alcohol withdrawal can kill you. Hydrocodone withdrawal can kill your body. Psychological dependence is when there's a psychological need for the drug, right? And what I want you to know is that some drugs have both a high physical and psychological, and then there are differences in these other drugs, right? And so one of the things I'm going to ask you is to please stay away from these drugs with the high physical dependence if you can, right? Now, overdose. If you think about it, a drug's toxicity, here's a cool way to think about a drug's toxicity, right here, okay? Think about toxicity as, oh, crap. Toxicity is how much of the drug it takes to kill you versus how much it takes to achieve a therapeutic dose or to make you feel better, either medically speaking or because recreationally you want to get high. So, therapeutic dose, and then you have the toxic dose. Okay, down here you have, and so this is this might be alcohol. Okay, so you can drink 3, 4, 6 pack of beers and it will get you high, so to speak. If you drink 15 of them, it can kill you, right? On the other hand, heroin, the toxic dose is very close to the therapeutic dose. Therapeutic dose. See how close these are? And so that makes it a much more dangerous drug. And then you have down here, you have the toxic dose for marijuana. The therapeutic dose is here. And the toxic dose is somewhere up there, okay? Yeah, actually you can't. You can't do it. I tried in 8th grade. You just can't do it, okay? It cannot be done. Okay, and so what I want you to think about as you go out into your world, you know, there's all these crazy drugs, and the ones that the doctors can give you. I know older adults who have fallen into oxy addictions because they had an injury somewhere. I remember when I had to go get surgery for my stomach when I was 40. Being big, I had physical freaking problems, and I had surgery, and they gave me the little morphine button. Anybody ever been to the hospital with the morphine button? It's the happiest you'll ever be in your life. Every 10 minutes you press that button and warm goodness just rushes all over your body. And after 3 days, they took that thing away. And I remember I, as a 42-year-old grown man, cried. It was the saddest thing that ever happened to me, right? And so be careful. Like I said, the ones the doctors give you can be just as dangerous if not used properly. Okay. Michael Caine's talking, oh yeah, Michael Caine made a comment about eating real food a while back. You know, Mike, it takes a little more effort, but you can eat healthy food. In fact, I'm looking forward to going to the produce stand and getting myself some Better Boy tomatoes and some corn this afternoon. Eat yourself some fresh vegetables, folks. Okay, substance abuse disorder. You can be given a substance abuse disorder by a clinical psychologist, even if it is a harmless, so to speak, drug. If it becomes problematic and starts to interfere with whatever you're doing. In fact, anything you do can be a psychological disorder if you do it compulsively and it gets in the way of your everyday functioning. Now, what you've noticed in this chart here that's in your textbook is there appears to be a peak in the teenage years. Surprise, surprise, when we're all more likely to engage in illicit drug use. Now, I will tell you, research has suggested that your generation drug use has gone way down since the 80s and 90s. Me and my friends used to do a lot more stuff than y'all do now, which is a really good thing. The only thing is there's some other sort of independence-related behaviors that seem to be decreasing in children today as well. So these risky behaviors, sometimes not good, not desirable, but a weird part of growing up in a way, risky, challenging, parent challenging behaviors. Now, they're typically one of the, next week we're going to talk about types of group therapy, and there are different types of group therapy. Some group therapies you go in, one form of group therapy is family therapy, and they have two different kinds. Like in structural family therapy, we just talk about the issues and the problem. Dad doesn't listen, mom's unfeeling, this and that. And you talk about sort of the structural problems in the family. But sometimes you have group therapy when one of the members is having a specific problem. So we have sort of this specialized strategic family therapy. And this is a technique that's often used when you have children who are experiencing some sort of substance abuse disorder. Now, in my experience, I have come across people with substance abuse problems, and one of the things that I have found is that when you try to help these people, if you don't help the whole person, you're really wasting your time. I'm trying to get you off of drugs too, but you've also got a job problem. You've also got a housing problem. You've also got some medical issues that are surrounding you. A holistic approach is what we need. And so you've got thousands upon thousands of homeless meth users on the streets of California and whatnot. You can't just stop the drug can flow, that's not going to be enough. These people have structural problems that are associated with the drug and alcohol problem that need to be fixed as well. Okay, 2:03. We're going to get out of here quick, I promise. Okay. I lost 60 pounds. I didn't do it just not eating. Something else had to happen too. And that was exercise. I made it my goal on that calorie counter to burn 800 calories a day at the gym. And then I set down how many calories I was going to eat. Now, one of the things I found out about losing weight, most people eat automatically, but they think very carefully about whether or not they're going to go to the gym. When you think very carefully about something, you don't do it as much, right? So what I found was you have to flip it and start eating very carefully, but exercise automatically. What exactly do you mean by automatically? Every night when I get home, when I walk in my house, the first thing I do is I throw the dirty clothes out of my gym bag and I pack the gym bag up. Right there, walking in the house, and I sit it by the front door. So it's already stinking there, I can't ignore it. When I walk in the morning, I pick it up. And I've just decided in my morning, just like you're gonna have coffee every day, you're gonna listen to whatever every day, I've decided no matter what else happens, I don't think about it as a choice. It's automatic. I have the gym on my route home. I drive by it and I go in. And what I found is that the way to really be successful is to eat intentionally and work out automatically. You told me you're a gym person, Kaylin, right? How many days a week do you go to the gym?
Like 5 and then I cheat.
There you go. Okay. And do you, I'll bet you probably do it, you have like a particular time of the day, a particular day that you take off. It's all the same every stinking day. Do you do kind of the same workout every day in the gym? Yeah. Okay, so you make it automatic. And so the key to life is making your eating intentional and making your exercise automatic. Why do I care about exercise? Swear to God, exercise decreases inflammation, it decreases clogging in your arteries, it's going to decrease your stress level. All of these inflammation-related things are going to prove helpful. The more I learn, the more it seems that inflammation is like the thing that kills you, right? And so you're going to have lower rates of cancer, lower blood pressure, lower reductions in heart disease. And the data are unequivocal. The more you exercise, the longer you will live, right? But that's not the only thing it's going to do for you. It's going to serve as a protective factor against dementia, okay? It's going to improve your memory, and then it's also going to improve your mood. The neurotransmitter functioning in reward, motivation, and emotional functioning is going to be improved. And here's the deal. You don't have to do a ton of it. I mean, you should do a ton of it, like me and Kaylin. We're out there working in the gym every day. She probably harder than me. But if you spend 15 minutes, man, walk around outside during your lunch break. 20 minutes, 30 minutes outside every day. Make it a stinking habit. Those of you folks online, okay, okay then, okay, hold on, okay then, I'm not sure what you're doing there, okay then, I am Kanye West, but you know what, now you're disappearing. Okay, Kanye. Sorry, we got somebody on the chat bar. Occasionally we'll get a strange person will just wander in and start talking. Okay, now, the final branch, the area where you can live a better life is at work. How many of you love your job? Absolutely love your job. You feel good about it, you derive meaning from it. I do. I love my job. I may suck at it, but I love my job. I love my job, right? I have fun here every day. And I think I'm making a difference, and that is really important for me. You are going to spend as much time at work as you do asleep. The two things you're going to do most in your life are sleep and work. You're going to do about 8 hours a day of each, so you're going to actually spend as much time working as you do sleeping. If you're going to spend that much time at work, shouldn't we think about those things at work that make us happy or productive? Now, your book talks about 3 different areas in the field of industrial organizational psychology. This is the branch of psychology that looks at how human beings interact with the business world. In industrial psychology, those are the people that help us develop the tests that allow us to pick employees. In business, you want to pick winners. You don't want to pick employees that are going to quit the job or employees that are going to be unproductive. So the industrial psychologists actually help human resource departments maximize their return on employee practices. Okay? The organizational psychologists are going to be the people who are interested in the workplace environment. The respect, the communication, the organization of the offices, the structure in the organization. That's going to be your organizational psychologist. Now, there's a relatively new branch of psychology called human factors. Never really thought about this, but as we started inventing things, it turns out that some inventions are easier to work than are other inventions. I don't know if any of you have ever got a laptop with a crappy keyboard that doesn't work well for you, all right? Human factors psychology is the branch of psychology that's interested in understanding the interaction between humans and technology and maximizing the design of technology to make us most effective, okay? So what should the windshield look like? What should the braking system in your car look like? I actually talked to a gentleman that was hiring for a human factors research company, and they're doing research to see how people respond to new stoplight configurations. You can do that kind of research with only a master's. I actually had a former Wake Tech student that went to NC State and got a human factors master's degree. I sent this young man over there a couple of months ago, and he got hired by this guy to do human factors research. And so you can do that as well. Typically, you'll need a master's or a PhD to do this kind of work. Really, what they want is a master's and then lots and lots of experience. Okay? All right. I'm not even going to talk about smoking because it's not really in your textbook. But I do want to say thank you to everybody who came today, those of you in class and those of you online. What we're going to talk about is stress on Wednesday. Does anybody have stress? Anybody here stressed out? Okay, cool. We'll talk. Right. I guess it is, right? In fact, it's so common that, have you heard, medical doctors in annual exams are now doing anxiety screenings. Did you hear that? It's now when you go to the doctor, they're going to do an anxiety screening while they check your blood pressure and your whatever they do on your annual appraisal. We're going to talk about stress on Wednesday, and we're going to talk about happiness on Thursday. What a great week, huh? All right, thank you very much, folks. Have a great day. Thank you to all of you who came online. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send me a text or an email. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday afternoon. Take care and have a great day. Bye. Bye. What in the world? Mahika, okay. Noco. I've seen Noco a couple of times. Hey, take care, man. Hey, take care.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Sorry for not attending the webinars this week and last week. I had family. The first one, I had family plans come out. The second one, I had to go help my grandmother. So
That's cool. Whenever it works for you.
So I promise I will be at this one as long as nothing comes up. Just
Dude.
things have been kind of crazy. So
No problem at all.
I appreciate it. So I just got to rewrite essay 4, and then
Yep.
I don't have to do anything
Nope.
else for this.
If that's your fourth too, yep, you're done. All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Hi, Professor.
Yes, ma'am.
I just came from the online lecture.
Mm-hmm.
I just came here because I was concerned about my grade,
Mm-hmm.
and like I've, done the assignments, and I just skipped 2 of the writing assignments,
Mhm.
but I wasn't so